Guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Biddy with the good hair, back at it like a crack addict, and I'm here with a very exciting and interesting video. So I'm gonna call this video Traveling Tips 101. If you want to know the do's and the don'ts of your traveling, then please do stay tuned for this video. Regardless of whether you're traveling by road or by air, these are things and tips that you need to keep in mind, alright? So, tip number one, always carry tissue paper and hand sanitizer with you. You have no idea how long the stops are gonna be, but that is if you're gonna be traveling by road. So you have no idea the time duration of your stops, and in between, when you're in the bus or when you're on the plane, you're definitely gonna want to be eating, right? So when you're done eating, you always want to make sure that you're hygienic and you're clean. So obviously hand sanitizer is going to come in handy, and tissue paper is for when you need to use the restroom. Okay, so you have no idea how clean or how dirty the restroom is, so it's always best just to make sure that you have tissue paper to wipe the seats, to wipe your behind, and also just to make sure that you have some in hand in case you need to blow your nose if you're somebody that doesn't carry handkerchiefs, in case you need to wipe your hands if you don't have wet wipes, you know, that kind of thing. So make sure you carry tissue paper and hand sanitizer. Tip number two, always make sure you're carrying a black or blue pen, and make sure it works before you actually leave. So whenever you are at immigration, most of the time you need to fill out forms. Whether you're traveling by road or by air, there are times when you need to fill out a form. So if you're traveling by air and you need to fill out a visa upon arrival, you are definitely going to need a pen. You don't want to look like somebody who's not organized, who's scrambling, asking strangers and random people for a pen. So just make sure that you always have a pen, blue or black, but I would highly recommend black because it just looks more professional. Tip number three, wear comfortable shoes that you can easily slide in and out of. So if you are traveling long distance, say for instance by road, and you just want to let loose, stretch your legs, I would advise that you carry or that you wear comfortable shoes with you. So if you are traveling by plane, most of the time seasoned travelers do wear sneakers, as well as if you are traveling by road, because they're more comfortable, and if you need to walk a little fast, you're not slipping in and out of your sandals. It's a sneaker, it's an enclosed shoe. So just always make sure that the shoe that you're wearing is very comfortable. And sometimes when you do arrive at airports, they might require you to remove your shoes, so you don't want to be there struggling, taking up time trying to remove your shoes. But if you have comfortable shoes that you can slide in and out of, trust me, it's gonna make life 10 times easier. Okay, next tip, carry a pillow or a neck pillow. So when you're in a plane, they do provide you with a pillow, but it is extremely small, the size of a baby's head. So I would highly recommend that you carry a pillow, whether you're traveling by road as well. It is so important for you to carry that because you might get tired on the way and you might want to take a nap, and it's very difficult and uncomfortable when you're trying to sleep without a pillow, and perhaps you're trying to use a jacket or a blanket. And another tip that goes hand in hand with that is try to carry a blanket with you. Okay, it doesn't have to be a duvet set, but just carry a blanket with you to keep you warm. Sometimes when you're traveling by bus, they put the AC on blast, so it will be extremely cold. But if you are somebody that doesn't mind, cold weather, cold air, cold everything, then it's perfectly fine. But I would highly recommend you carry a neck pillow, a normal pillow, and a blanket. Next tip, always carry loose change with you, okay? So sometimes it can be a bit difficult. Say for instance, you're traveling by road and you're at your next stop and you need to use the restroom. What are you gonna do when you don't have change? Are you gonna be asking the passengers with you for some cash? No. So you want to be an organized individual, and by being organized, it is super advised that you carry loose change with you. I know normally when you're traveling from countries like Namibia to South Africa or vice versa, at the gas stations they normally require or request $2 or 2 rand in order for you to use the restroom. So I would highly recommend that you try to carry loose change with you and don't carry notes that are too big, okay? Next point, make sure you carry some cash with you, okay? So yes, it would be advisable that you buy food before you travel. This is if you are traveling by road, because if you're traveling by air, 9 times out of 10 the airline that you're traveling with, especially if it's a long flight, they are going to provide you with some food. But if you're traveling by road on a bus, it is advisable that you do carry some fruits with you because they can sustain you for a pretty long time. And of course, carry some cash with you in case you need to buy a few things like fried chicken or, you know, some chips on the way, just to keep you going. So just make sure that you carry some cash with you, okay? Make sure you have a carry-on bag where you can easily access your passport, your ID, or any other documentation that you know you're going to need on your journey, okay? So the reason I say this is whenever you are at an immigration office or with immigration officials, they are going to ask for your passport, and you don't want to be scrambling looking for your passport, searching between books and papers and all of that. No, girl. You don't want to do that. So just make sure that your important documentation is easily accessible. I would highly recommend that either you carry a fanny pack and put your documents there, or you have a backpack with you. Next tip, avoid wearing belts and too many metallic accessories, okay? So this is especially when you are traveling by air. Most airports will require you to remove things like belts, keys, phones, and all of that jazz. So, you know, you can still look cute without wearing all that stuff. I mean, you don't want to waste time removing your belts, removing everything else, your keys from your pockets, and all of that, you know, because you must remember that there are people who are going to be behind you waiting in line, and you just want to be efficient and be mindful of other people's time as well as yours. So, I mean, you wouldn't want the person in front of you wasting your time by removing everything that is so unnecessary. Do you get it? If you don't get it, forget about it. Befriend some people that you are traveling with, especially if you are a solo traveler. It is so important, and I would highly advise that you try and befriend and talk to people that are traveling with you, whether it's by bus or by air, because you never know, these people might know a couple of tips that you have no idea about. For example, maybe you don't know what the immigration is like. Somebody that you're traveling with who might be a seasoned traveler might have a fair idea of what to expect, and they can give you a number of tips here and there. So just remember to always be friendly, you know, don't be don't be unsavory, okay? Just be a friendly human being, and the next person will be more willing to embrace you, talk to you, and all of that jazz. And you never know, these people that you befriend on your journey might be aware of some protocol and procedures of the country that you're traveling to that you yourself might not be aware of. And the next tip does coincide with this one, which is do your thorough research of the country you are traveling to. It is so important. So it is so important for you to find out whether you need a visa upon arrival or whether you need to apply for a visa before you actually leave the country. Another thing might be, do you need to show a certain amount of funds, or can you just enter the country? It is also dependent on the type of passport that you are holding. Make sure you are aware of the rules and regulations of the country that you are going to be entering, okay? Make sure that all your documentation is in order. You do not want any troubles with any immigration officials, okay? So they do recommend that you travel with at least 6 months of validity in your passport, but I think it is safer if you have 1 year validity, all right? Make sure you have more than enough money in your account, okay? So I did say carry some cash with you, but also make sure that you have money in your account. And another tip that I am going to add on to that is try to make sure that you carry at least 2 debit or credit cards with you, because there is a possibility that maybe when you go to the ATM, your first card might be swallowed by the ATM, and then what are you gonna do? Because you're in a foreign country, you're so far away from your bank, what are you going to do? So at least have 2 cards with you, make sure there is cash in both cards, and carry some cash with you on hand, okay? This is regardless of whether you're traveling by air or by road, by jet. Just keep these in mind. So you have reached the country of your destination and now you're being a tourist. Make sure that you carry copies of your passport and your ID and any other important documentation. You do not want to be carrying the original documents with you when you are being a tourist, because you never know what can happen whilst you are exploring, whilst you're sightseeing and all of that good stuff, okay? Anything can happen, God forbid, but you need to be safe. Better safe than sorry, okay? So you never know, you might be walking around, you might be doing your thing, and then somebody just decides to come and grab your bag with all your important documentation. And what are you gonna do? Because you're so far away from home, you probably don't know anybody in the country that you're in, so it's going to be very, very difficult for you to retrieve your lost documentation. So make sure you make copies of your passport and your ID, and then you leave your original documentations back at the hotel or back at the accommodation that you are living in, okay? Another point that goes hand in hand with that is avoid using sling bags. So I would recommend that either you have a fanny pack with you or a secure backpack. But sling bags, I'm a bit skeptical, because as I said in the previous point, it's so easy for anybody to just grab and go and take all the things that are in your bag. At least with a fanny pack, it's wrapped around your waist, and it's gonna be a little bit difficult for somebody to do a grab and go. Always carry your health cards with you, whether you're traveling within Europe, within Africa. Just always make sure you have all your health cards with you, things like vaccination cards, yellow fever cards, anything that shows that you are healthy and vaccinated. Just always carry those cards with you, okay? Do sufficient research about the country that you are traveling to and make an itinerary so that it can help you, give you a fair amount of the amount of money that you are probably going to spend, okay? So it might not be exact, but at least you have an idea of how much money you're going to spend there, how much money you need to save up for your trip, and all of that good stuff, because it is so uncomfortable that when you travel to a new country and you see something that you love and it's so difficult for you to get it because you didn't do a budget. So always make a budget, make an itinerary, and do sufficient research of the country you are traveling to. Economies are different wherever you go, okay? Keep that in mind. When you're at an airport and you need to exchange cash into the local currency of the country that you've landed in, always make sure that you check the app XE to compare the rate at which the Euro exchange is charging you. So I'm gonna put the app over here so you guys know exactly which app I'm talking about. Avoid wearing white clothes, you guys. By all means, try your best to wear dark clothes. You're eating and you mess yourself up, it's gonna be obvious, okay? It's gonna be so obvious that you have a stain. If you are female, do make sure that you carry sanitary pads with you. It's really important that you do carry your charger in the same place that you're carrying your passport, okay? Make sure it's a power bank, and always make sure that your power bank is fully charged, you guys, okay? Don't be afraid to ask questions, guys. Do not be afraid, okay? It is normal, especially if you're traveling to a country that you've never been to. Even if you've done your research, do not be afraid to ask questions. Nobody's gonna kill you for asking questions. Nobody's gonna put a gun to your head for asking questions, especially if you're unsure. And last but not least, try to learn the basics of the language of the country you are entering. So say for instance you are going to Portugal, and obviously they speak Portuguese, so I would highly suggest that you try to learn a bit of Portuguese here and there, because it is going to make the locals embrace you a little bit more and a little better, and it won't be so difficult for you to ask for help or ask for directions from the local, because you know you tried your best to speak in their language, so they're definitely going to be more willing to talk to you, to help you, and all of that good stuff. All right, like I said, this was a very impromptu video, but I thought I might as well make this video because as we are speaking, I am currently traveling, so I thought this would be a good time to give you guys this information. But if you do like this kind of videos, please do let me know, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like and comment, and don't forget to share. You guys, it will mean the most to me if you share my content, and let me know down in the comment section what kind of other videos you want to see from me. But without wasting any more of your time, I hope I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.